A brutal heat wave is bringing dangerous temperatures to some 160 million.
For America's 250th, New York did what New York does. It turned the anniversary into a show. On July 4th, fireworks were not confined to one skyline. Across New York, the night would be marked by shows over rivers, bridges, beaches, and boroughs. And before it could light up the boardwalk, it had to be built here, at Garden State Fireworks.
A day in the life here is rapid. We'll be in 14 states on July 4th. We have about 700 technicians probably that work for us around the nation. And
this is ready to fire. This is a set piece. It's going to say 250, 250.
As you see, we have a ton of trucks. They're all prepared, ready to go. It's a lot of orchestration. Every show is custom, and many of them are musically choreographed with different musical soundtracks, with different budgets, sizes, so everything is custom. It depends on where you are. So Coney Island has winds and ocean and beach and time constraints and size limitations, and that show is up to a certain size. We've done everything from the Olympics back in the 80s to Super Bowl to inaugurations. We never cut a corner because in our world that is not a safe, or it's not a way you're going to exist ever. So we've been around 136 years now. My great-grandfather started our business, and I'm the fourth generation. I started working and apprenticing with my father at age 8, and then eventually, by the time I was very, very young, much different than the rules today, I suppose, but I was running operations in New York City at 15.
And then Augie took us into the belly of the beast, the room where they keep the explosives.
So if you'll notice, explosion-proof lighting, conductive flooring, we have special doors, special, anything you can possibly imagine to reduce friction. What happens is you start to develop a sixth sense when you're around fireworks. So, we always learn to respect them. We do an immense amount of training, and we do a lot of hands-on training. Yes. We're fortunate that we have really, really good people. So this is known as a 5-inch aerial display shell. These are just blue and yellow and green, just a variety of colors, and sometimes we'll have mixes like that, or sometimes we'll be very specific in terms of the types of effects that we're looking to do, whether it could be a ring, it could be a heart, it could be anything you imagine, and then they get orchestrated into a show, and they're assigned and addressed a specific cue in the show, and then the computer will fire it at that exact moment.
From the fireworks plant, we went downtown to one of the places where revolutionary New York still survives. Fraunces Tavern sits in Lower Manhattan, surrounded by office towers and traffic. But in 18th century New York, taverns were community centers, places where news moved, politics traveled, and business got done. This is one of the few still standing.
Let's talk about the bar we're in. It's called Lafayette's Hideout, after General Lafayette, who was a French general. After the war was over in Europe, he wanted a bit more action, so he came over to fight against the British here. This part of the building is over 200 years old. We know that because there was a fire here 200 years ago. You can still see some of the scorch marks from that fire. Yeah. This timber was all used for shipbuilding. It's like concrete. My father reckons that it could burn for a week and it still wouldn't fall in. Yeah. This is the Bissell room. That mural there is about 100 years old. It depicts a time when the British had control of New York, so you can see the British warships in the water. Yeah. This is our main dining room, the Talmage room. Seats 57 people. The long room where George Washington gave his farewell address to the generals after the war was directly above us. It was a private room where down here would have been hustle and bustle and all the locals and traders and whatnot. So this is the Dingle Whiskey Bar. The previous owners used to have this as a coat check, but we thought there'd be more money in selling whiskey than hanging coats.
I'm gonna say you're probably right.
Yes, there you go, there you go.
Taverns were where people gathered. What they drank was part of the culture. So, in Morristown, New Jersey, Glenbrook Brewery tried to recreate a beer that might have belonged in that world.
Hi, welcome to Glenbrook Brewery. We're located in the heart of Morristown, New Jersey. Behind me, you'll see Washington's headquarter flag. This is a replica of the flag he used to use to let everybody know where he was stationed. So welcome to our brewery. Since we're in Morristown, which is one of the epicenters of the Revolutionary War, George Washington and his troops spent four winters here, including the harshest winter on record. One of the beers we're highlighting today is our Spruce Ale. Spruce Ale was the very first American sour beer that wasn't brought over from Europe or somewhere else. And the soldiers used to make it in the Revolutionary War in the 1700s out of spruce tips from hemlock trees and molasses. So we made a commercial version of that. Yeah, first thing you get is pine. That's a great beer. Yeah, I never tasted a beer in the 1700s. What I would imagine is, in the end, if you're looking to get a little buzz.
So we brought a keg back to Fraunces Tavern and invited historians, a high school history teacher, and a comedian to taste a revolutionary-style beer in one of the country's oldest surviving revolutionary spaces.
So we're drinking a spruce beer from Glenbrook. It's called Green Mountain Ale. So spruce beer would have been very popular back then as both a preservative and a flavor enhancer. So obviously this is before the introduction of hops in beer.
And hops was used as a preservative, though, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The closest thing this would be to is a pale ale. What we would know as a pale ale. Well, cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers to your health, as the fellow says. Cheers.
Cheers.
I bet. Oh, which way does not hold to the carpet?
It's not really warm, it's cellar temperature. So it's the equivalent of what a refrigerated unit would have been like in 1776. You know what I mean? Like it would have probably been ice adjacent, you know, in terms of refrigeration. So similar to how the Germans lager in caves, it's the same kind of concept. So really cold beer like this is relatively new.
We'll check back with these guys later. Not every 4th of July tradition comes with a flag and a speech. On Coney Island, Nathan's has become one of the holiday's strangest institutions. A food contest treated like a sporting event, airing on ESPN. A holiday tradition built around appetite, spectacle, and 10 minutes on a stage. Joey Chestnut is the name everyone knows.
A man synonymous with the 4th of July. The greatest eater ever, 16 mustard belts.
James Webb is one of the people trying to chase him. He's Australian, he loves America, and to him, this is the Super Bowl.
I would kiss the floor if you let me stay. Give me my green card, I'll kiss the floor. Like, that's how much I love this country. I like this country because you can just fit in. Like, you can make your own terms. I'm not trying to adhere to, like, your standards, right? And Americans are very result-driven. The American way is like, who won? It's very painful to admit how much better Joey is than me. Whoa, he's the GOAT. No one will ever be as good as him. I don't know if you've seen him in the flesh. 6'2", 6'3", big fella, size 14 feet, hands like shovels. Without being a dickhead, he's got a massive mouth, right? I've beaten him in chicken wing contests. Like, I can beat Joey at wings.
The guy's good. He surprised me. I didn't know how fast he was, and now he came out.
Being 4th in the world, like, all right, it's 4th. It's not number 1, but there's an element of prestige, yeah? Hot dogs are a freaking delicacy in this country, man. Hot dogs are as American as they get. Tonight, I'll go to sleep, all I can smell is hot dogs. It's like in my pores at that point.
She's training for the Coney Island hot dog competition.
Yeah.
It's Saturday on ESPN. You can see him.
Okay, tell me why you do it.
Why I do competitive eating or why I do the hot dog contest?
Yeah, competitive eating.
It's fun. I get to travel the world and eat food. I've got my daughter's birth towel. Normally, we have to do like an entry. They do like they do an intro, your walkout, whatever. Normally, I point to my last name on my jersey. This year, I'm gonna hold my daughter's towel up with her name on it. My daughter's 2 weeks old. I want to go home. But I know I've got to perform this next 3 weeks. There's more skin in the game for me. And without being a dick, on Saturday, if he's choking next to me, I'm not helping him. When it's game time, it's game time. Like, what goes on the table stays at the table, you know what I mean?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is when our nation comes together as one.
Upstairs in the piano room, the conversation moved from what people drank to what the holiday actually remembers.
It's America's birthday. So what exactly is the 4th of July?
It's a culmination of one of the greatest social political experiments of the Enlightenment. That's what we are. That's what the 4th of July marks. The beginning of this experiment that people have the ability to govern themselves.
July 4th just happens to be the date when the Declaration is, it's not the day it's voted on, it's not the day that it's signed. It's when America goes public or becomes Facebook official, I guess, as breaking up with
So they made 200 copies, they put it out, and it's like, this is official. We're doing this.
I would say it was the D-Day. They wrote the document was dispersed, and if there was any sort of reconciliation thought about, I believe that was it.
So we burned the ships on this day.
Yes, we cut the cord.
Because basically what it is, it's a declaration not only of independence, but simultaneously treason.
Well, remember, a lot of them are lawyers, and I look at the Declaration as a legal document in case you end up in court for treason. You can make your legitimate arguments by the numerous grievances they have put forward.
So it actually doesn't reach New York until the 9th of July. It's read out loud to George Washington's troops up where City Hall is today, and then they get pretty drunk in the afternoon, and then they went down to Bowling Green and they toppled the golden statue of King George III that used to stand in the middle of Bowling Green.
This is a depiction of the tearing down of the statue of George III at Bowling Green. I am Melissa Lauer. I'm the Education Public Programs Manager here at Fraunces Tavern Museum. So after Washington heard the Declaration of Independence, he decided to have it read aloud so that the troops in the city could hear this very, very rousing, inspiring document. And it maybe worked a little bit too well, because then, Sons of Liberty, soldiers, people marched down to where the statue of the king stood at Bowling Green, and they pulled it to the ground, they hacked it into pieces, kind of symbolically executing the King of England. And it was made of lead. So they then sent most of the statue on into Connecticut, where it was melted down and recast into musket balls that they were then going to use to shoot back at British soldiers. So lots of layered symbolism going on in that act.
Washington's troops melting down the king's statue and using it to kill the British is possibly the most American thing in this documentary. The night of July 3rd, a sandstorm suddenly tore through Coney Island. By morning, the beach was calm again, and the show still had to be built.
Coney Island is dear to me. I think I've been doing shows here for close to 20 years, and it's always very special. In New York City, everything has to be fired electronically, and it's automatically fired. And that's why we cover everything with foil, so that stuff doesn't go off by mistake.
What ends up happening is, because it's an auto-loaded program, we end up hitting one button, and because it's programmed ahead of time, all of these cues are individually popped perfectly, so that we end up having probably, how long is this show about?
I think it's about 14 minutes.
Yeah, just about 14 minutes on the dot.
This is a traditional 4-inch shell. So the shell diameter is actually 4 inches. And then so within each shell, there's this fuse, this red fuse goes down and goes down to the bottom of the shell. And in this cone section, there's a lip charge, which is just black powder. And that, under compression, creates an explosion and sends the cylindrical part of the shell up into the air. And then there's another internal time delay within that shell that is burning while it's burning up and sending up into the air. And once that time delay hits the center of the shell, it ignites all of the powder within the shell, bursts it open, and then lights the stars, which is all the colors that you see. Yeah, so this is a 3-inch diameter shell here, and then this is a 4-inch. And because of our distance requirements to the crowd specifically, each site is limited to what you can shoot. So here, because we have X number of feet to the boardwalk, we can only shoot up to 4 inches. We're out here all day, and somebody designed this show, and somebody also had to pick out all the fireworks that are associated with it. So we're the last people to touch the show, but there are many other hands that have been on this, and probably, I would say at least 100 hours.
I've been doing fireworks 48 years. I get to light explosives and they pay me. It's every guy's dream jobs.
Americans across the East Coast are preparing for one of the hottest Independence Days in recorded history.
Make sure that you stay hydrated, make sure that you're putting on sunscreen, make sure that you're taking as many breaks as possible from being outside, and if you can, to stay indoors and to stay in air conditioning.
They did not do that. By midday, Coney Island was pure theater. Flags on the boardwalk, costumes in the crowd, music from the stage.
Hot dogs, it's great with soda pop.
Summer heat pressing down on everyone, and at the center of it all, a table of hot dogs.
Well, I competed in 1996. Back then, you did it the original way. None of this Dunkin' old-fashioned way. Dog in a bun, down the hatch.
Nathan's is officially an eating contest, but once the music starts and the competitors walk out, it becomes something larger. Part sporting event, part carnival, part holiday ceremony.
Our thanks to Nathan's, to Polly Market, and to Chinette, the Chinette brand.
Commercial, competitive, excessive, and sincere. It belongs on the 4th of July. The competitors are introduced one by one. The crowd waits for Joey Chestnut. James Webb waits for his chance.
The number 4 ranked eater in the world. The number 1 ranked eater in the Southern Hemisphere with 7 world records. James Webb!
And then, after all the noise, the rules become simple. 10 minutes, as many as you can eat.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
And they're off.
Joey's finding a rhythm, Webb finding a rhythm. This looks like a beautifully produced contest.
New York has always understood ceremony through its harbor. Ships brought trade, immigrants, soldiers, and news into the city. So when America marks a major anniversary here, the harbor becomes part of the stage. In 1976, Operation Sail turned the bicentennial into a massive parade of ships through New York Harbor. More than 200 ships gathered for the event, with millions watching from the shoreline.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States and Mrs. Reagan.
In 1986, the tall ships returned for the Statue of Liberty's centennial.
People singing God Bless America on the subway at 1 o'clock in the morning. People standing in Brooklyn Heights as the Eagle went by singing the Star Spangled Banner. Those things don't happen very often in New York, I don't think.
And for America's 250th, they came back again. The parade of ships is not just scenery. It's a floating version of the national story. Military display, maritime history, civic theater, and public memory coasting past the skyline. While the ships were slow and ceremonial, the jets were anything but. The Blue Angels were created in 1946 after World War II, when Admiral Chester Nimitz wanted a flight exhibition team that could raise public interest in naval aviation and boost Navy morale. Their first demonstration was held that same year at Naval Air Station Jacksonville.
The mission of the Blue Angels is to demonstrate precision formation flying to the men of the United States Navy. The Blue Angels perform every standard maneuver in the book, and some that are not.
Nearly 8 decades later, the purpose is still visible from the ground. Speed, formation, noise, risk, control. The Blue Angels turn military precision into public spectacle. From below, it feels almost simple. Aircraft moving as one. But that is the point. The machinery disappears, and the country gets a symbol it can hear before it fully sees. In Times Square, New York borrowed its most famous countdown. For America's 250th, the ball came down 8 times, marking midnight across every American time zone, from Guam to American Samoa. This time, it wasn't counting down to a new year, it was counting the country into a milestone.
We are standing in the long room at Fraunces Tavern Museum. This is the most famous room in this building, hands down, because this is the site where George Washington said farewell to his officers at the end of the Revolutionary War.
There's a Roman general called Cincinnatus, and Cincinnatus is famous as a general because after his battling a war, he lays down his sword and picks up the plow. What does Washington do here in 1783, in this very building? He does exactly that. He surrenders his sword. What did King George say? What did he say when he heard that? If he does that, he's the greatest man that ever lived.
And a lot of historians will say this is the most important thing Washington ever does. So this is the very first place that peaceful transition of power happens in the United States.
Look at Joey go. He's at 50 right now. People think being Joey Chestnut's easy.
With 66 Nathan's famous hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes, Joey Chestnut!
Man, look, Joey's been doing this 20-something years, right? And the guy's like Terminator. The guy's a beast. I'm into my 5th year, so I'm not doing too bad. I wanted to get to 50. The last couple of plates were cold, and the last plate I took from the left side, and that was stone cold. I should have taken from the right side because they were warmer. But it's luck of the draw. I'll take 3rd place. It's the most grueling weekend. You know, like, I'm done. I'm done with hot dogs for at least 11 months. Until next June, no hot dogs. Next year.
I love this country.
By the time the fireworks reach the sky, the 4th has already become many things. History.
We do have a lock of George Washington's hair.
Work.
We're out here all day, and some of the bigger shows are hundreds of man hours.
Theater.
The 18-time champion of the world.
Ritual. And maybe that's part of the freedom too. The room to gather, compete, celebrate, make noise, and invent strange traditions in public. At 2:50, the story is still unfinished. But when the fireworks start, something simple happens. For a few minutes, everyone is just looking up together.